Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama has no problem creating interesting characters, but sometimes he just creates too many. He admits he sometimes has trouble keeping track of them all, and we've lost some of our favorites over the course of the series. We'll explain what happened to Launch, the character who is the definition of a split personality. Before we begin, subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, let's find out what happened to our old friend Launch.
Stay right there, you!
If you haven't obsessively watched Dragon Ball from the very beginning, you might not remember a character named Launch. But who are we kidding? You're watching CBR, so clearly you're a fan. In the original Dragon Ball series, Launch was an important character who appeared frequently. One of the great things about Launch was she was essentially two characters in one. First, there is the blue-haired good Launch, who has a sweet and pleasant disposition. Then we have the bad Launch, who has blonde hair and is a wanted criminal. Uh-oh. Launch can't control when she changes form, and it happens automatically whenever she sneezes. There's a Jekyll and Hyde complex for you. Unfortunately for her, she has a sensitive nose, and her transformations often happened at inconvenient moments. She was first introduced to Dragon Ball when Bad Launch had gained the attention of law enforcement. During the pursuit, she sneezed and changed into Good Launch, who was rescued by Goku and Krillin, and ultimately brought before Master Roshi. In the beginning of the series, Launch was in a total Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. When she would turn into the blonde-haired Bad Launch, she was wild and unpredictable. She was more likely to pull out a machine gun than to have a rational discussion about things. Sounds like one of my old girlfriends, honestly. While we loved Launch, we could understand how her dual nature could have been a problem for the storylines. Unpredictable characters like the Incredible Hulk and Launch are fun, but they take their toll on the people surrounding them. But after all, the Incredible Hulk's origin comic ended up getting canceled after only 6 issues. It was only until he well proved he could play nice with others through guest appearances that he came back. So if Launch had been introduced and quickly removed, we could have understood that. Hey, Akira Toriyama tried something new and realized it didn't work, but this isn't quite what happened. At first, Launch was pretty near uncontrollable in her blonde hair form. She was as aggressive and cruel as Good Launch was kind, but over the course of the series, Bad Launch became much more controllable. She developed a personality besides just bad, and even showed kindness and empathy towards others from time to time. When Krillin met his end, she even shed tears on his behalf. That definitely isn't what we would have expected from her character when she was first introduced. In addition, Launch was much more than just a background character. She was a major player in the beginning of Dragon Ball, who appeared in many major plotlines. If she wasn't so well established, her absence wouldn't have been as noticeable. But friends definitely noticed when she stopped appearing. After the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, she stopped appearing in the Dragon Ball manga. We did see her in Dragon Ball Z to a much lesser extent, but eventually she faded away there as well. While we saw an occasional cameo, fans were left wondering, what happened to Launch? Well, if you've been missing Launch lately, we have a tiny bit of good news. Toyotaro is the illustrator of the Dragon Ball Super manga, and he gave us a look at what Launch would look like if she was still around today. He started drawing characters who haven't yet appeared in Dragon Ball Super, and this included people like Launch and Android 8. While we loved getting a sneak peek at Launch's updated look, we still wanted to know what happened to her. Seriously, what happened? To find out Launch's fate, we both have to thank and blame series creator Akira Toriyama. He's admitted in the past that he has a bad habit of coming up with characters and then forgetting all about them. For instance, many fans consider Broly to be one of the greatest villains around, but Toriyama had little to do with him after his creation. Broly was the villain of many movies, but Toriyama had to catch up on all of them when he started writing Dragon Ball Super, Broly. When it comes to creating, Toriyama likes to follow his whims wherever they take him. This leads to him coming up with amazing things, but sometimes they peter out when he loses interest. In addition, he has strong feelings about many of the characters he creates. Unsurprisingly, his favorite characters are Goku and Piccolo, but his character he most dislikes might surprise you. Vegeta is one of the main characters in the franchise, and has gone head-to-head with Goku more than just about anyone. Toriyama has confessed to not enjoying the character, but claims he's necessary in order to advance the story at certain points. We know that Toriyama's ambivalent feelings towards his characters have led him to abandoning many of them. Anyone remember King Choppa? He showed up in Dragon Ball where he competed in the World Martial Arts Tournament. Although he was killed, he was revived by the Dragon Balls, only to ultimately disappear and never to be seen again. Sadly, Launch was another casualty of the whims of Akira Toriyama, but considering the fact that he created the entire series, we can't be too upset about it. Still, just because she isn't a main character anymore doesn't mean he never thinks about her. It turns out he spent some time wondering what fate could have had in store for Launch. Apparently, she fell in love with Ten Shinhan, and the two of them settled down on a farm together. However, it went went about as poorly as you probably imagining. Launch had zero interest in farming, and Ten-Shi-Han had zero interest in romance. This resulted in her moving on, although she still visits from time to time. Ten-Shin-Han, on the other hand, is doing great and provides his services to his fellow farmers for a price. So what happened to the great character known as Launch? She ended up working on a farm, and now she simply visits a farm occasionally after being spurned by her romantic interest. Hey, we never promised it would be a satisfying conclusion. Seriously, that's it? Oh, come on!
Control, you fire one shot in the air and everybody scatters like mice!
There you have it. Do you think that Launch should come back? Do you miss seeing her in the Dragon Ball franchise? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.